Welcome to today's episode. You are listening to The Expert Edge, where we're bringing in experts to share their knowledge and learning with you so that you have the tools you need to prevent and reverse diabetes and the related metabolic issues. I'm so glad to introduce to you Deepa Deshmukh. We're so glad to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Lucia. Thank you for having me.
Those of you that haven't met Deepa yet, she's the co-founder of Dupage Dietitians, and she has been working with people from various ethnic backgrounds to lose weight, reverse and manage their diabetes, reduce their cholesterol and blood pressure levels, and all of these sorts of things. So her specialty is culturally adapted nutrition. And in 2020, she was actually recognized as one of the top 10 dietitians in the country by Today's Dietitian publication because of her innovative approach to health and wellness. And I'm so glad that you can be with us here today.
Thank you, Lucia.
I'm just really excited about what we're going to be unwrapping for people today. And I'd like to start by asking you, how did you get started in this area of work with food and diet and health? So I'm sure there's a story behind that as to how you got started, and I'd love to hear that.
Okay, no, thank you. That is a good start. I grew up in India, and I grew up in a household that was surrounded with my mother, my aunties, and my grandmother. My grandmother is 103. She will be 103 next month. So
good genes.
Good genes is one thing. So I better make sure that I live well and eat well to reach her age as gracefully as she is. So I grew up in a joint family, and there was a lot of cooking and stuff that was happening around me that got me interested in the subject area of food science, and then that led to getting a degree in food science and nutrition. And then I came to US almost 30 years ago and started working as a volunteer at a Harvard affiliated hospital. And as I was volunteering for the nutrition department, I got to see how the healthcare system at that point was, and what was being put on the trays of patients with cancer and coronary artery disease. And then one time I had an opportunity to do a little presentation for the homeless community. And the whole concept of ensure or jello and these puddings, that was very new to me. I was extremely fascinated when I came to US the first time. Just the grocery store just captured my attention, and the breakfast aisle. I said, what, there's a breakfast food? I didn't know that. I just ate whatever my mom and grandma gave it to me. I didn't know there was such thing as breakfast food. So what I noticed, that the people who are recovering from the cancer treatment or after the heart attack, they were getting the jellos and the puddings and canned beans and peas. I mean, I'm talking about canned green peas, not the chickpeas.
Yeah.
And then in the homeless shelter, these people are also eating pretty much the same stuff, the canned stuff and jello. And I said, this is interesting. You would think that the sick person, his nutritional needs are more, as well as the people in the homeless community, they deserve some fresh food or something better. How come the whole world is eating around me is eating canned foods? So that kind of got me interested. Fast forward, I went back to school to study nutrition. I don't know, public health seemed more appealing to me. I got degree in public health, and I started working at a hospital. Didn't last. I just, for more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I said, this is not for me. People here are hooked to ICU, and I'm supposed to tell them what? Eat better. And then at the same time, the trays are being delivered right in front of me with burger and fries. So it just all just didn't make sense to me. So I started working on my own in 2006, 2007, and started noticing that people pretty much have the same symptoms of nutritional deficiencies that I grew up studying. And that was interesting. So I started paying more attention to their gut health and their diets, and that kind of led me to kind of go more plant-based, plant-forward diets. I didn't know I was practicing whole food plant-based or what I was practicing. All I knew, my patients were getting better. And around the same time, I started working at a federally qualified healthcare facility, working with the minority communities, and that was an eye opener. I had African American. I continued to work there once a month, but people of color and different ethnicities and different barriers and social determinants of health issues, all that. So, all in all, I learned a lot about people, their cultures, their food, their barriers, the systemic barriers that we have, and kind of got into diabetes. Another personal reason that I'm passionate about, specifically about diabetes, is my dad passed away because of it. And it's only when, if I felt that I was telling him what I knew was right, but the not everybody is educated about nutrition, so he pretty much got wrong advice from the healthcare other healthcare professionals, and that is very conflicting for the patient. So he's not here anymore. So something has to happen. We need to have this dialogue about food, nutrition, how it affects our health. And here I am today with you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. So as you've started to work with a lot of underserved communities in this area of diabetes education, what is it that you're finding are some of their biggest challenges, and how do you meet that with your approach to nutrition?
Okay. So one thing I noticed very quickly was that people are hesitant to make changes if the food that we are recommending does not resonate with their culture. Okay. And our current system has this one size fit type of approach to nutrition. Everybody gets the same advice. Oh, drink milk and eat salads and some whole grains. But within those recommendations, there are some serious considerations which need to be addressed. And so that's the barrier: lack of culturally inclusive messaging tools. In fact, there is a research study that indicates that obviously the incidence of diet related diseases like diabetes, heart disease, um, obesity are high among people of color, specifically African Americans, followed by Hawaiian natives and American Indians and Asians. And within Asians, you have variations of all the people, Lucia. You will appreciate that because of all the ethnic backgrounds that are in your blood. So,
yes.
So the incidences of diet-related deaths and diseases among these ethnic populations, is very high compared to the average. The Caucasian ethnicity. However, the dietary pattern recommendations are not equitable. They do not match the demands or the requirements of this population. So there you have it. And then, so how are we going to cure these food-related diseases by having this one-size-fit type of approach? So when somebody comes to me, I kind of dig deep into that. What's your ethnicity? What kind of foods you eat? What kind of grocery stores you go to? And kind of come up with ideas and strategies and recipe modifications, etc., to address those.
Yes.
And even then, behavior change is a toughie.
Yes, it is. But I think it does help if we're like aware of what are some traditional foods. Like if, someone's used to eating tortillas and beans 3 times a day, and then you telling them that they have to eat, this tossed salad with carrots and cucumbers and, and it's like, that's not the kind of salads they're used to. It's Yeah, I think it's a really great point. So, what are like some of the traditional, more ethnic foods that you have found help people to be more compliant with the diet that's going to really support them in diabetes reversal, like adding more plants and things like that, cutting down on the fats? What are some of those traditional dishes that you can help people to either modify or use in that? And let's just maybe look at several different groups. So I'll let you choose which one to do first.
Okay, no, we'll go. Maybe let's start with Hispanic group, right? I mean,
Okay.
especially when it comes to diabetes, the message that everybody is giving them, oh, don't eat carbs. Okay, so wrong.
Yeah, I mean, beans and tortillas are both very high in carbs.
Exactly. So don't eat that. All right, then what should she be eating? Okay, eat salads and start sprinkling nutritional yeast on it, or salads with oily dressing. That's the message that most people get. Well, that is not. First of all, it's a wrong advice, and secondly, um, my Hispanic lady or guy is not going to eat that, because that's not what he's used to eating. So what makes sense is, like you just mentioned, rice and beans and salsa, and you almost have to pick
Mm-hmm.
mm, what is good in their traditional food for them,
Mm,
because I feel that cultural food has gotten some sort of a stigma that,
mm,
hey, it's what you eat has gotten you into this mess, so you don't need to eat that, you need to change. But that is not true.
mm,
Rice, beans, potatoes, lentils, all kinds of fruits and vegetables have been around for millions of years, and that is how human body has survived. Human body has not survived on packaged chips and fast food and all that. So we have taken, let's say, the case of tortilla and beans. We took absolutely clean ingredients like corn and beans, and now we are adding fried we are frying it, those
mm-hmm,
things, or adding meat to that, or adding excessive oil to that, and cheese and
mm-hmm.
sour cream. So it's not the corn and beans are bad, we have given them a bad makeover, and now that's why they are, you know
Yes.
same thing with Indian food. If you want to take that group, I mean, people say,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, millet makes my blood sugar go up high, or I eat potato and my blood sugar goes up high. I'm like, no, it's not the millet and the blood potato. You took that millet and rice and turned it into biryani and some sort of a fried cutlet, and now you're blaming the poor millet, you know and same thing with African American population. I mean, that population has such good culinary heritage from Africa, and a lot of root vegetables and yams and black eyed peas and fruit, all that stuff, right? Including some interesting grains like fino and finoa, I think, or Pino, I believe. I have to check. With some spices like
Mm.
paprika and garlic and things like that. And now African Americans think that mac and cheese is their soul food. How can that be? When did pasta and cheese originated from Africa?
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense. So we have to go to every culture, literally step by step, and identify those basic cultural staples,
Mm-hmm.
and remove the sad uh, diet ingredients from the modern dietary practices, such as oil, fat, and sugar. You
Yeah.
strip them out, you dress these staple foods with different herbs and spices, and you have beautiful
Oh,
meals.
absolutely. Like I remember that when someone first taught me how to make real Indian curry, and you fry the spices right at the beginning of the curry. And then it was like when I started looking at how can I cut back on the fat in my diet, because as many people that have heard my story know, I come from a family full of diabetics. So um I realized that I really needed to be watching the fat in my diet, and that was an important piece. And I was like, but I love curry, right? So, but I learned that you can dry roast the spices and get the nice flavor even without having to use oil, and using just a little coconut milk in the overall curry, that sort of thing. You can get such a flavorful, rich curry even with much less fat than maybe even is used traditionally, but it still preserves so much of the goodness. And it's a great dish for putting all kinds of vegetables in, right?
Exactly.
And it's so versatile. So it's like, I feel like in every culture there are things like that, that it's like making tweaks to traditional dishes that make them healthier. Like I've
Absolutely.
noticed, working with a lot of people from Mexico, that, like
Mm.
you said, it's not the problem, is not the corn tortillas and the beans near as much as the fact that they're frying the corn tortillas. And so it's like, how do we make these things with tortillas baked or other ways that don't involve a ton of oil? I mean, it's like for enchiladas, sometimes they're double fried. It's just like,
And then
and
you add cheese and sour
oh
cream on
yeah,
top. And then we are wondering, oh, why my blood sugars are high and why I'm not losing weight. Well,
exactly.
you just added fat on that.
Hmm. Yes.
I want to show you some. This is so exciting. So going back to that question about, different foods for different ethnicities. So in my program, or one of my teaching tool is, this calorie density and nutrient density pyramids, as
Mm.
I call it. And this is for the American population. This one is for,
Mexican
this one is for Mexican. Oh, okay. Then I have one
in,
for
in
this is
Spanish.
one in Spanish.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Oh, those are very cool.
yeah, then I have one in for
For
Indian
Indian. Hmm.
communities. And what differs is, for all different ethnicities is what's on the bottom here.
Yes.
But the groups stay the same. It's just the spices are slightly different, or fruits and vegetables and their beans, and
Hmm.
these things are slightly different. And then I have one for African American community. And yeah, so these are the kind of, in fact, I have one for Asians, like South,
Okay.
like
Is that more like the
Philippines or
Japanese,
Korea,
Chinese?
Japanese, Chinese,
Yeah.
Asians. And then I have one for, I believe, Native Americans, because that population is
Ah,
also high risk for these chronic conditions. So these are kind of things I like to
those
share
are
with
awesome.
my
So,
patients.
is there a way, if somebody is interested in having a copy of one of those, is there a way they can get that from you? Do you have any
They are they
available?
are they are part of my program, but we are putting them on my website as part of my starter guide to,
Okay.
to reverse diabetes. So yes, they will be available probably in January or so. That's when we are
Oh, okay.
launching.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that, because I think those are amazing, because that calorie density is such an important principle
Yes,
of healthy eating. And the idea being, for somebody, if you're not used to that term, the idea is that we want to get as many vitamins, minerals, water, and fiber for every calorie you eat. Right? Isn't that the basis of your pyramid? So
that's
the
absolutely. And
yeah,
which one are low in calorie but high in nutrients, and
that's at
and
the bottom.
and have a
Mhm.
volume,
Yes,
because
and the fiber is what often provides
the,
the volume, right? Lots of
exactly,
fiber. So you get full with less calories, but you get more nutrition. And so by
absolutely.
concentrating what you eat from the bottom of each of those pyramids that she was showing you,
Yeah.
you're going to automatically really improve the balance of nutrients. You're going to have more nutrient dense food, which is a real key to diabetes reversal and
Absolutely.
feeling good and all of those sorts of things. So,
Yes,
oh, I
absolutely.
appreciate that. Those are awesome. And I
But
think that that's really an approach that's so missing many times, and that we really need to be paying attention to, because I think it's important that people hear that you can use traditional foods and still be healthy and still reverse diabetes.
I would take it one step further. I think it's the traditional food, the traditional staples, without the topping of this excessive salt, sugar, and fat is the key.
Hmm.
We don't have to go around looking for anything more. We have to start eating like our great grandmothers ate and really start moving like them.
Yes, that makes a huge difference. And as you look at cultures around the world, so many cultures, their traditional foods are based on some kind of whole grain, some kind of legume. That's often a base.
Absolutely, because that's how we evolved. We did not evolve with factories around us. We did not evolve with Uber and Grubhub and those people dropping food in our doors. So
That's
we
right.
we evolved eating staple foods that was grown in nature.
And in fact, it's only been, in less than the last 200 years that we've really seen food being modified in the ways that we see it now, where it's like they're making products out of what was food. And the product sometimes has no resemblance to the original and often is missing all of the advantages of the original food it was created from. So, and then the way things are grown and the way animals are treated and all of those things that not only are impacting our health, but impacting the health of the globe. And so as we get back to eating things that we're designed to, like as a Christian, I believe we were created by God with a design, and he designed us to eat whole plant foods. He put the first man and woman in a garden. And as we do that, it really puts us in a place where our supports the healing of our body in so many ways, and not just from diabetes, right? So as I was saying, it's as we choose to put foods in our body that work with the design of our body and support healing, that we really get to enjoy seeing the reversal and the prevention even of so many of the chronic diseases that are killing people today. And so I really love the work that you're doing. Is there anything else that you've noticed when you're working with people with blood sugar problems in these different groups that it would be like a great tip or another great idea for them to implement if they're wanting to move in the direction of getting more of those nutrient dense plant foods on their plate?
Flavor,
Flavors. So
flavors.
what are some of the tips around flavors that you recommend with your clients?
Use herbs and spices and vinegars and simple things like mustard, uh, soy sauce. These are the not only they have pharmaceutical benefits, all
Mm,
kinds of herbs and spices, but they also add flavor. They are small amount goes a long way. They are, they are shelf stable, so you don't need a whole lot, and they are relatively cheap and they last long. So making sure that your food is flavorful is
mm,
important, and the flavors are again not coming from salt, sugar, and oil, because those things are very addictive. If
mm-hmm,
the disease reversal is not possible until we reduce our dependency on that artificial food, and our dopamine levels need to be adjusted. This is where the natural dopamine level is. This is where the dopamine level from processed food is. Until you start to get away from it and get here, disease reversal won't happen.
mm.
So slowly but surely, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not something magic wand that me or Lucia can run around you and do it. So having a support, having some
Mhm.
sort of accountability, having a community, I'm sure Lucia has all those things, is very crucial, because I
Yes.
don't think a person alone can do it. We have seen that's why diets fail, because people read a book and they feel, oh, I figured it out. And yeah, we all figured it out for 2 months. And then once the honeymoon period is over, we are back to where we started. And
That often is the case. Yeah. So I
exactly.
agree with you. Community, social support are all really important factors to
Yeah.
being able to stick with it. And so I really appreciate the things that you've shared with us today. And I do want you to also tell us just a little bit about the free gift that you have for our listeners today.
So the free gift I have for you guys is, I believe, the 3 anti-inflammatory recipes and crave crash, no, not crave, uh, Oh gosh, craving buster. What is it? Crave buster, and anti-inflammatory recipes that I have created, and I have seen my patients benefit from it. These are some easy, simple recipes and snacks that you can try to curb your craving or to actually smash your craving. And also a couple of anti-inflammatory, again, herbs, spices based ingredients in these recipes to reduce your inflammation, which also is part of diabetes.
Absolutely. So I thank you so much for that. And I just want to thank you for being here today with us. Remember, health is wealth, and it comes by choice, not by chance. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Lucia, and the viewers, and we'll see you soon.